All right, everybody, and welcome to a special edition of the VG Podcast Specials podcast. It's the worst name ever. I got to work on that. Got to put my thinking cap on a little bit there and come up with a better name, I think.
Check copyright, sort of head down to the post office, maybe figure some stuff out. Totally.
I gotta totally do that. Well, this is going to be a special edition of the VG Podcasts podcast specials podcast specials podcast. I think that's long enough and interesting enough. We'll go with that. This one's going to be based on Disney Infinity. Was chatting about Disney Infinity. It came out about a week and a few days ago. I was chatting on Twitter about how much I'm enjoying it, and then I saw Joe Fourhman, or Mr. Incredible, as you can see if you're following on along in the live chat room, talking about how much he was enjoying it. And we just started talking back and forth, asking questions, and then Joe's like, we should just do a special. We should just do a podcast. And I was like,
yeah, this should be a live conversation, because Twitter is kind of harshing my vibe.
Totally. It was like questions, multiple chains going back and forth over Twitter. And then we just said, yeah, let's pause this and let's do a show. So here we are, the Disney Infinity special. So you've already heard him. Joe Fourhman is here to join me. Joe, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. Why don't you tell people where they could find you? Just introduce people that may not have heard you on the Nintendo Pulse.
Right on. I do a podcast called You Like the Worst Stuff with my buddies Tony and Joe, another gentleman named Joe. And we talk about games and other pop culture-y stuff, and that's our home site is ggsgamer.com, which does news and reviews and the usual game fan stuff. Mm-hmm. That's sort of where I usually am found on regular weeks. But it's always fun to pop in over here with you and hang out and chat about stuff too.
Cool.
So, happy to be here.
Well, I'm happy to have you here. And I'm happy that I found someone else that has actually played the little game called Disney Infinity.
Right.
Got my little...
Right. Isn't it? I know it hasn't been out for very long, but I feel like the only people that are playing this game are games journalists right now.
That seems to be the only people online that are talking about it. Maybe everybody's too busy playing. Maybe that's the thing.
Or there's this price tag sticker shock from the parents out there that might be interested in picking this up. And waiting for Christmas, I suppose, too.
Yeah, I think we'll get into that. We definitely will be getting into that in a little bit. I think the sticker shock is definitely going to be part of the problem, especially with all the little things like these little lovely pieces of plastic. And
they've out Skylanders.
Yeah.
They really have.
Evil Disney, but I love them for it, I guess, at the same time. Cool. Well, let's get into the show. Let's start it off with talking a little bit about Disney Infinity. So if you've never heard of Disney Infinity before, you've probably not listened to any of the podcasts. And also, since I'm going to be releasing this as a special, it's going to be available on the Nintendo Pulse and the bonus stage feed. So if you subscribe to any of either of those shows and you're wondering what the hell is this VG podcast special, this is going to be just kind of a one-off shows that we do every once in a while. I've done it before, usually around E3, but I thought that Skylanders, Disney Infinity warrants kind of its own show because we're going to be talking about it forever, for not forever, but for a long time.
We're going to get it out, get the big bulk of it out of the way right here.
Yeah, because the bonus stage is already 2 hours, and if we added another hour of Disney Infinity at the start of it, people would complain, maybe. So we didn't want to do that. So we're going to release a show. We're going to talk about Disney Infinity, our thoughts, run down the whole product, and then kind of just give you our thoughts on it, I guess. So that's kind of what this is. So if you haven't heard about this before, the specials, don't worry, they're not going to be like every week. We've done them before, but very sparingly, and that's how it's going to continue from here on out. But as I said, thought Disney Infinity would be a good one to do. So let's get this started. So Disney Infinity, I first heard about this one, I guess about 8-9 months ago. I'm a huge Skylanders fan. You can see behind me, I got like Skylander special legendary figure whatevers behind me. And I have kids, and Joe, you have a child as well.
Yes, we have a son.
You have a son. I don't know how open you are online, so I didn't want to say you have a son, because some people are very protective about that.
Right. He's 8. Don't use that information against me.
Okay, well there you go. So my son and your son are pretty close to the same age. Like my son just turned 7 in April,
right?
So a couple months behind or whatever, but that's pretty cool. And you're a big Skylanders fan as well, or at least you own the Skylanders sets,
yes,
and one or two of the figures I've heard.
We've enjoyed that.
Yeah. So we're huge fans in this house as well. Like I have all the figures, which is stupid. I have a full desk that is covered with just figures laid out by like their element. And for a while there, all my kids wanted to do was play Skylanders Battle Mode. So they didn't want to play the actual single player game. They just wanted to play Battle Mode and play in battle arenas and throw stuff at each other.
Right.
And they wouldn't even play to win. They would just play to do stupid things, to interact with the elemental buttons that would make like fire jets or other things appear.
Right. That
was kind of their fun. So they played that for a while, and we haven't really played it in months. And then I guess about, as I said, 9 months or 10 months or whatever, heard about Disney Infinity, and it was a slow trickle in news. And essentially Disney Infinity is Skylanders done by Disney. So you have a base, which you can see behind Joe in kind of the corner there. I don't have my base beside me, but it's kind of like a portal, but flatter. And it has 3 little areas that you can drop stuff on. So 2 circles and an octagon that's kind of squished and stuff, and super skinny. It's like a wafer thin chocolate bar. So don't eat it though, kids. It's not edible. And then you have the figures, where if you compare the figures to, I do have a Skylander here.
So they're much nicer. The figures they're much nicer than Skylanders.
Yeah. So I have I have a Skylander here, and then I have Mr. Incredible, and the figures are easily like 2 times bigger, and they're heavy, like they're bulky. A lot more mass to the figures. Obviously not all of them, because you have like Mike Wazowski is kind of small in comparison. But it actually looks like, and then you have cars that Joe's showing in his camera. Lightning McQueen.
Lightning McQueen here. Yeah, they're nice sculpts. The paint apps are really nice. They're there's a nicer quality to the actual toy itself than in Skylanders. Not that Skylanders is bad.
No.
But just sometimes the paint's a little sloppy. Sometimes in some of the early Skylander stuff, there was like maybe 1 paint color on a couple of those early ones. So and they've gotten better over time. But I mean, the Disney ones do blow the Skylanders toys out of the water.
Totally. And even worse with the Skylanders, you'd find different runs of figures would have different color. So you had like Chill, one of the figures for Skylanders. She first shipped with like purple lips, and then she had blue lips, and then she had kind of like bluish purplish lips. And you had people online, they're like, I have the purple lips variant. It's like, no, it's not a variant. It's laziness is what it is.
Yeah, just the paint colors weren't matched up right.
Yeah.
And a point we just brought up in the chat room. Do these figures move? No, they don't. There's still no articulation, just like in Skylanders where they're just a lump. These guys are just a lump too.
Totally.
They're sculpted as if to look like there's articulation.
Like, I'm showing the camera right now. Like for Mr. Incredible, he has these huge lines on his like hulking shoulder bicep.
They're supposed to look like action
things.
Figure toys because the game is that they're action figure toys, but the actual action figure toys are not action figure toys. They're just little statues.
They're not very action-y, but they are figure-y. So if you like if you like the figure part of action figures, you're all set. If you like the action part, well, you could pretend that they've all been like turned into statues, and that's that's the fiction that you're playing with. But
Frozen.
Exactly. But yeah, the toys are amazing. What Disney actually did is, because all of their properties across Pixar, across Disney Television, across Marvel, Star Wars, everything. Like Disney owns everything. So if you have something in your house, Disney probably owns it now. There you go, Lone Ranger. Like all of their properties, they all have different visual looks. So what they did with Disney Infinity is they've taken everything and they've redone it on a new visual style. So all the figures look very similar in style, even though they're very different properties. Like you have a live action movie, Pirates of the Caribbean, and then you have The Incredibles, which was a like an animated 3D animated cartoon, but the figures themselves look very close. Like, it looks like they could have existed in the same movie if it was done that way. So very interesting. So they did some things that Skylanders never really did. Skylanders is all about like a lot of figures that are all different, that all have their own punny name. Disney Infinity is like, we want you to play in our world. Here's a play set with a few figures from that property. And then once you're done playing that one, you can go play in the toy box and have fun with all the figures. So kind of a different mentality. So going back to my kids playing Skylanders and only wanting to sit there and play battle mode and kind of make their own fun up in the game. When Disney Infinity first came out, I was just like, I don't know, it's not fun. And then they start talking about the toy box. It's like, well, okay, my kids play Toy Story 3 on the PlayStation 3, which has the toy box mode, and that's pretty much what they do. They run around and throw things, and I'm like, oh, so this is going to have the toy box from Toy Story, and it's going to have all these other figures in it, and then you can build your own stuff like Minecraft. And then next thing you know, like fireworks were going off in my head because I linked a pressure pad and a tube, which then was set to fire fireworks. If you play Disney Infinity, you know what that is. And fireworks are going off in my mind, and it's like, my kids are going to love this. So this happened about maybe around E3 when they were showing off a lot. Like there was a huge media dump. Like if you follow anybody like Disney Infinity on Twitter, like there was new YouTube videos coming out every day. And they could do that because they would come up with a video and they'd come up with the same video in Spanish and then the same video in German and the same video in French. And it's like, you're cheating, Disney. But yeah, they were kind of this slow trickle of information, and every little bit of information I'd show my kids, and they just got so hyped for it. And they just got hyped for the characters. And then I started showing them kind of what the toy box mode was, and they're like, "Hey, that's like the Toy Story game." And I'm like, "Yeah, exactly. It is exactly like Toy Story, but you can build your own world." So for the last month, my kids have been so hyped for this game. They were counting down the number of sleeps until when the game was released. Like it was a Christmas in my house. It was the weirdest thing. And then pretty much since the game came out, that's all we've been doing. I haven't put another game into my system except for today. I put in a game on my PlayStation 3, but pretty much the only thing that I've been playing, and I picked it up on the Wii U, so we've been playing Wii U all week, which is a weird thing in itself. And what we've been doing is playing Disney Infinity, so it's pretty good. I don't know, Joe, how about you? Like, excitement in your house for this game?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we've been big into Skylanders, and I'm a big Disney fan, so they already kind of had me pre-sold just on terms of pure concept. So we got it, and like you've already outspent me on figures for sure, because I only went with I've got 10 figures total, just 2 from each set. But really all my son wants to do is just the creative mode stuff. He just wants to do toy box mode. Like I made sure we had 2 figures from each set so we could do multiplayer in each set. Mm-hmm. And we haven't even ever done that because he just wants to do the toy box stuff. And I've only played each playset for like maybe an hour to 2 hours, probably on each one of the 5, and so I haven't really unlocked a whole ton of extra stuff for him to play in the toy box. And he still has been having a blast with it, dropping in the stuff that you sort of get by default. You get Cinderella Castle, you get a whole bunch of terrain elements, and some of that stuff, mm-hmm. But. Yeah, so like as I actually start playing the play sets after he goes to bed and unlocking more stuff for him to mess around with in toy box mode. But yeah, it's definitely cool. I've got some reservations about it. Like when we start talking about the gameplay.
Yeah.
But I mean, just in terms of being a Disney fan, like there's a lot that I'm getting out of this that I was kind of promised but didn't get in the Epic Mickey games and in Disney Universe, if you remember that one.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There's much more of the famous Disney triggers being pulled here, where Epic Mickey just kind of floundered in it, and Disney Universe somehow didn't even have, it was just all costumes and a couple of settings and stuff. So this is really finally I'm finally getting this big Disney game feel that I really haven't felt since like the first Kingdom Hearts.
Sure.
Where you were getting a big crossover between all these Disney worlds.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of the thing it initially reminded me of. It was like, holy crap, this is gonna be like Kingdom Hearts. I can play in a Tron world with Vanellope and Mike Wazowski. It's like, wow, that sounds pretty cool. I kind of like that idea. All right, cool. Well, so there's excitement in both our houses. You got yours. Did you get it on release day? You got it a few days after release day, right?
Yeah. That week I got it release week.
Was it like in Canada? We don't have the same sales as you guys have in the US. I know Target was doing buy one playset, get another one for half price.
The opening week was nuts everywhere. I mean, everybody had everything on sale, some kind of deal opening week, and then now that week's over. Now everything's back to a normal price, and that stuff is just going to dust on the shelves. It's going to sit there because the prices are hard to swallow.
Right. Yeah. Like I don't know, bizarre. We didn't have any of that here. The biggest special was a pre-order, and you get a free character and a free pack of plastic discs. So I did that, but I was hoping for the sales because I was reading online like. There was Target, I think Walmart in the States had a sale for a while, and I think maybe even Best Buy had some stuff.
You could get play sets for like $15 to $18, and normally they're like $35. You could get the 3-pack sets for like $15. Toys R Us was selling the packs of discs. Buy one for $5, get a second one for $1. So effectively, $3 a piece. Yeah, that opening week was like great. Like that was your time to strike, and now it's going to cool off, I think, for a while.
I think so. Yeah, which is kind of weird. It's kind of sad. It almost makes you wish I would have driven down to like Grand Forks, like in North Dakota, and hit up all the stores there on release day and bought all the stuff for cheap. If I would have known that it was so cheap, it would have been worth the gas to drive down there and pick up all the stuff for half price or better. So I bought the Wii U version. I know you did as well because I can see it in your background there.
Yeah. I mainly because I wanted to see the gamepad stuff.
Sure. Yeah. Not so happy with the gamepad stuff.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So besides Wii U, it also came out on the Wii. Don't buy it on the Wii. If you only have a Wii console, buy any other console and buy it for that system because the Wii doesn't have any of the online play. It doesn't have any of the online sharing of levels. So it's pretty much single player and multiplayer if the people are sitting in your living room. Well, all the other versions have online level share, and there's ways to do online multiplayer. So it came out for the Wii, the Wii U, PlayStation 3, 360, and the 3DS.
But we don't talk about the 3DS version.
Yeah.
Even less than talking about the Wii version.
The 3DS is like Mario Party.
Yes, it's apparently so terrible that Disney was not even sending it out for a review. Like,
yeah, I see it.
Folks had to specifically request it, and even then, it was like, I don't know, you're fine with just the other version.
It's nuts. We have a site up here called Kijiji, it's very similar to like Craigslist. It's even by eBay, but for some reason it took off in Canada. It didn't really take off in the States. So I'll troll Kijiji or whatever. There's people selling Disney Infinity. It's guaranteed that it's the 3DS version because everybody bought it thinking it was the game, and then they realized it's this stupid mini game collection that you still need the physical characters for. It's
right, and it comes with the same 3 characters, so it's not even like you would buy it just to get somebody different. Like how Skylanders, the 3DS version, always has something else there, whether it's a different paint job on a character, at least it's a different character to collect. No, 3DS Disney Infinity is the same 3 goofs you get with the regular version, and just stay away. Apparently,
it's stupid. It didn't make sense at all. Like because I've bought both of the 3DS or both of the DS versions of Skylanders because of the other characters. I would have done the same thing for this one just because I like collecting the figurines. But yeah, they didn't do that. And then at the end of the day, it's even worse of a game than the DS or 3DS Skylanders game is, which is kind of Skylanders-y, but it's more of a platformer kind of.
I didn't think even those Skylanders 3DS games were very good.
No.
Those are not very good, and this is by all accounts worse than that. So
way worse. Some really bizarre.
Not even counting it as part of the continuity at this point.
So I guess what we're saying is it came out on 3 consoles: the Wii U, the PlayStation 3, and the Xbox 360. So you can pick it up on all those, and it's $75 for the base set, which comes with the game, the power pad thingy, whatever they call that pad stuff. I don't know what it's called, the Infinity Base something or other.
It's called the base.
Three figures, which Joe is showing on camera if you're watching on the camera. So it's Mr. Incredible, Sully, and Captain Jack Sparrow. So it's the three properties that come with the set. It comes with this white glowing thing, which is the playset piece.
Yeah, that unlocks the three playsets.
Yeah, and it has the Monsters University. It has the Pirates of the Caribbean, and then it has the Incredibles logo on it, because this will allow you to play any of those three play sets. And then it comes with one of these guys, which they're Disney Infinity Power Discs. So it either comes with a round one or an octagon one, it's weird octagon. It's kind of squished, or I guess it's a hexagon. It's only six sides, but it's kind of squished.
A flattened cube, kind of a gag here.
Yeah. And I think it maybe only comes with these ones, because I think it was in the octagon or the hexagon kind of space. And what these things are is they're kind of modifiers. So when you put a figure on the base, you can put a round piece underneath it. So I'll grab some of my round pieces.
As per the demo.
So you grab the round piece. So here's Bolt Speed.
I don't have that one.
And if you put it under your figure gets special properties based on the disc. And the cool thing about this is you can actually stack two things underneath each character. So you can put, for example, Bolt Speed and Pieces of 8, which is from Pirates of the Caribbean, which gives you the Bolt Speed gives you the chance to do to run fast. I guess I think that's what it does, because I don't use this one. My kids do, so I don't know. And then the Pieces of 8 gives you the chance to get bonus currency whenever you break something and coins spit out. You can also do things where, if you take one Pieces of 8 and then stack another Pieces of 8 underneath it, then your bonus is doubled. So what you're going to want to do, if you want to have the most kind of powerful sort of possibilities, you're going to want two of each of these round discs. And that's where the money starts racking up, kids, because when you buy these packs, you get one free disc with each set that you buy. And if you want other ones, you have to buy blind packs. And if people don't know what a blind pack is, you probably haven't been collecting minifigures or even baseball cards. It's the same sort of idea. You buy a pack and you don't know what's in it. And that's really hard with these ones, because you're probably going to want most of the things if you're someone that likes to build levels. Because besides the power discs, there's things like this one from Nemo, which basically gives, this one is for, it changes the sky and it makes it look like you're underwater. So if you're building like an underwater reef, you'd want it obviously to look like you're underwater, not just clouds and stuff in the sky. The only way to get that is to get lucky and get it inside of a disc or inside of a blind pack and get the right disc that you need. So besides the color ones, there's things like this one, which is Lilo. It's Stitch's gun, and it's basically.
I don't have that one either.
I have all of them, so you can tell me which ones you don't have, and I can show them to you. Actually, no, I don't have
Dumbo.
them all.
I don't have Dumbo.
You don't have. I don't have Dumbo yet. It's in the mail.
That's one of like the super rare ones.
Yeah, it's coming from eBay. I eBayed that one because I couldn't find it locally. But yeah, like if you're gonna want, like, if you want Cinderella's carriage, that's the one that I got with my base set. And then I opened enough packages to have 4 more of them, or three more of them.
I got 2 of those.
It's crazy.
There's only like 10 or so in that set of plastic discs. Not counting, I think, a couple of super rare ones, like the Dumbo one we mentioned.
Yeah,
and then you get 2 in a pack.
Yeah.
So your odds of hitting duplicates get pretty high pretty fast.
Yeah, there's in series 1 or wave 1 of the first set, there's 21 possible discs that you can get.
Right.
20 that are in the normal set, and if you have a Toys R Us and they have these kind of brownish packs, you get Mike's car. So it's like Mike Wazowski's little sports car. And that's the only way you can get it.
A key part of the franchise.
Yeah, I don't even remember seeing it, except in I guess there
was a short. They did a short.
That's exactly what it was.
When Monsters Inc. came out, that was for the DVD release, and that was about his car.
Yeah, I remember that with
shaking my head.
Sully sitting there and hitting all the buttons and stuff like that. So yeah, like if you're a collector, you're going to be spending crap loads of money on buying these $5 packs that are randomized, and heaven forbid that you need to get any of the rares, because in Disney's great intelligence, they've made the actual picture on the disc. It's one of those like prismatic hologrammy things. So it's a lenticular hologram. So if you move it up and down, things change. Well, you can feel that from outside the package. So if you see people in stores that are like scratching the packages, well,
that's a great tip.
They can get the rares. So you probably will not find a rare in the store. I happened to get lucky and get all the rares in my first collection of packages, except for the one that I ordered off of eBay. But I know people that basically go to every store in the area and they scratch all the packages to find the ones that are rare, and then they sell the rares on eBay because they're evil people. And they're not local people, so I can't actually walk up to them and smack them. They're internet friends. So yeah, like if you want to collect even just those things, it's going to be super expensive. Anyway, we were talking about what comes in the box, and we've already gone down our first rat hole of holy crap, we're going to be spending a lot of money, which is a theme here with Disney Infinity. So yeah, that's basically what you get. So for $75, you get the game, which comes with 3 playsets: Monsters University, The Incredibles, and Pirates of the Caribbean. And then you basically get to play the game. So we keep talking about play sets. So there's different types of play. There's the toy box, which is kind of like a Duplo version of Minecraft. So it's Minecraft with bigger blocks, essentially.
Lots of pre-made sculpture things.
Totally. Like if you want to build a waterfall, well, you don't figure out a way to build up this crazy contraption to push water up using pistons like you do in Minecraft. You just basically place this big ass waterfall block, and then it has the nice rock and climbing areas and the waterfall coming down, which is cool, but it takes away some of the fun if you're a big Minecraft person. Very kid friendly though. So that's the toy box. You can kind of do whatever you want. You can make amazing vistas and play around in them. You can drop enemies and then shoot them, and then they're gone. And then drop another enemy and shoot them, and they're gone. Or you can get creative and make enemy generators, which will then just keep spawning harder and harder enemies. You can, using things called creativitoys. I think that's what they call them.
Yeah, they made up a word for that.
Yeah, it's really annoying. You can then apply certain properties to different items. So you can make it so that if you pass through a certain area, you score a point. So if you're having races and you want to count laps, you can do that. And that's where the toy box mode gets a little crazy. And maybe we can talk about that at the end. So the toy box is kind of the creative fun part. And then you go to the play sets, and that's when you have a pre-made short to longish kind of adventure. So the game comes with 3 of them, and each one will take you between 4 and 12 hours, depending on how slow or fast you are. I beat all of them in about 6 hours each because I was looking for all the items and completing all the quests and things like that. And that's kind of where I've been spending most of my time myself. Just like you, Joe, my kids want to play in toy box mode and make fun things, and I kind of want to see the story and collect all the pieces for my set.
Yeah, and this story mode stuff is straight up exactly like it was in Toy Story 3, the video game. The only part of Toy Story 3, the video game, that anybody liked has become this playset concept mode in Disney Infinity, which is effectively like a little Disney Grand Theft Auto, where you walk around, pick up missions from NPCs hanging around town, and some of them are lame, some of them take you all over the place, and just sort of some of them keep repeating, I think, because you can't run out of stuff to do, right?
Yeah.
Like there's always going to be some garden variety things that are always there outside of the quote unquote story. Which is sort of my first problem with those play sets. Like I like the low key wandering around, free roaming, go do missions, but it's not exactly a very gripping experience, though, is it? Like
no, and they have,
I guess I was kind of expecting something more along the lines of a Kingdom Hearts or whatever, where there was something that kind of tied everything together, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, because they did all those early promo movies that showed the characters all kind of hanging out together and as if they were all uniting to fight Zurg, which hasn't happened. So I was sort of surprised when every single one of these playsets has just been the characters in that world just kind of hanging out with each other and doing very, very normal things. I mean, Lightning McQueen's got to go over here and pick up the tires that Luigi lost, and he's got to deliver them, and then he's got to go over here and race Chick Hicks around the barn. There's no big overall storyline of Disney Infinity of any kind of like evil coming to take your imagination or anything, which I was like, oh, okay, I guess we're not going to do that.
Yeah, like I thought it would be more like that, especially after the intro.
Yeah, there's this really nice intro when you first started up that's very Disney, all the imagination and sparkle and
totally.
fairy dust and everything.
Totally blew my mind.
Yeah, characters popping up as the world builds around you, and it culminates in Sorcerer Mickey right there talking to you. So that was nice. And then it just kind of dumps you in a hub world, and you're like, "Well, good luck." This already. I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm confused, and I'm getting nagged at by the guy who sounds like he did voice work for High School Musical.
Right, exactly, and
the narrator.
And the weird thing is the hub world that it drops you in is one of the toy box mode levels.
Yeah,
but it doesn't really tell you about that. It's just like, go here if you want to do stuff.
It's very bad.
Step on the red circle if you want to do this. Step on the red circle if you want to do this. I'm going to do that for about 5 minutes straight, Joe, just so you can get really annoyed with me, just like you are with the game.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens.
Oh, it's horrible.
I just kind of wish they would have forced you into the first couple tutorials just to get them out of the way.
Yep.
And then, because like I said, the first thing my son wanted to do was creative mode. Mm-hmm. So we didn't have the playset there to jump into the playset and get into it, because the playsets do a much better job of it. Mm-hmm. The playsets actually, and actually this is also annoying, they all repeat the same beginning because they don't know which playset you're going to play first, right?
Yeah.
So the playsets all begin with, and here's where your missions are. Hit this button to check out your missions. And so you kind of go through that every time. Because
it's hard to force it the first time and then store it in your save game that you've done the tutorial
right.
and then
Couldn't
pop up.
That?
And then pop up every time. Would you like to do the tutorial? No, it doesn't know
every
that.
Time.
So yeah, okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about the 3 sets that it comes with. So there's Incredibles, Pirates of the Caribbean, and Monsters University. Each have different. Basically, the gameplay is totally different, and they all have a varying degree of polish on them. So I started off with The Incredibles because my kids had watched the movie in the lead up to Disney Infinity a bunch of times, like lots, stupid amounts of times. They were so into Incredibles, so they wanted to do that one. And in Incredibles, you're whichever figure you put on the base, and basically 3 supervillains have broken free from jail, essentially, and they're being transported back to your base, and they broke out. And you have to basically deal with those 3 super criminals that were broken out by Syndrome, and Syndrome will be flying around and doing his 0-point energy stuff and making stuff fly. And it kind of just throws you into it. And then cars are exploding, and you're like, okay, what am I doing? I don't really know what I'm doing. And then you get your first mission, which is walk over here. So you walk over there, and then right. more stuff explodes. It's like, okay, like
right.
What's the story? What am I doing here?
It's clear there's action.
Yeah. There's action and explosions.
And I've learned how to double jump.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
And that was it. And I was really kind of I was happy that I was there, because I would have dropped my 7-year-old with the gamepad and said, "Here, go have fun." He would have been really confused because they didn't do a good job of kind of giving you the tutorial in that game, which is odd because then I played Monsters University last, and it does a really awesome job of kind of setting things up. But anyway, so in the Incredibles, you're your chosen figure. Funny enough, if you pick Syndrome, the evil Syndrome will attack you, and then your non-evil Syndrome says, "Well, hey, he looks like me, but I'm a different syndrome. So that's how they.
What?
That's how they've.
That's terrible.
Yeah. So
I am never buying that toy. I never want to see that. That's not allowed in my house.
So the fiction has been set as such. So it's a different syndrome. And if you are ever having a conversation and they're like, yeah, you have to defeat syndrome, they'll make light of you being syndrome, but not that syndrome. It's like, well, the other one, you know what I mean. So they're kind of clever at that, but they could have been a little more clever, I guess. But yeah, so that's kind of how it starts. Like you're kind of just thrown in this world, which is cool because it's an open world, but it's a really open world without any sort of guiding, like helping hand, which was a little bit jarring. And then once you get into the game itself, you're running around. I want to call it Metrocity because I watched Megamind recently, but no, it's Metroville. And you are you're climbing buildings. You're punching robots. You will punch a lot of robots in this game, and then you're doing all the missions. What they've done in each of the playset is there's a toy store, and as you progress through the story, it unlocks a toy that you can purchase that helps you in the playset. The cool thing is if you buy something like the hoverboard, which is one of the ones that you got in Incredibles, that then sticks with your character when you're in toy box mode. So you'll always have that little helper toy that you can use in toy box mode, which is kind of cool. Mm-hmm. And you have to buy these things by beating up people and garbage cans and mailboxes to get the little coins that pop out to then you use that currency to buy the items. So that's kind of where they've kind of thrown some repetitive gameplay kind of grinding into it. So it's like, oh crap, I need 1,000 coins to buy this building. Now I have to go beat up robots for 15 minutes and extend my gameplay that way. Yeah, so I mean that's pretty much the Incredibles. Like you're in Metroville. There's different islands. It's all connected by bridges that are conveniently blown up, and you have to then buy the bridges to connect the different areas. And the missions are varying from run around and punch things to climb to save people. There was a cool one where you had to put out a fire, and I didn't realize how I would put out a fire. Then I realized that on top of this building there was a big water tower, so I punched the water tower, which then broke the water tower, and then it put out the fire. And it's like, I just destroyed everybody's belongings in this building, but at least it's not on fire anymore, I guess. And that's kind of it. I mean, it's not unenjoyable. It's just it's a little repetitive, and I wasn't really sure what to expect, and this wasn't what I was expecting, I guess. But at the end of the day, they are fun. They will take you, as I said, 4 to 8 hours ish. It took me about 5 to 6, I guess. And besides the main missions that are in each world, there's certain sorts of things. I can't remember what they call them. They're like feats or whatever that you have to do.
Right.
And there's a certain number of those for each play set. So it's I don't know, do 25 tricks, and then you get a gold star, and there's X number of gold stars in the world. So if you've done if you bought all the toys in the toy store and you've done all of the missions that the quest givers will give you, there's other things that you can do to kind of extend your gameplay. But once you've kind of beaten the playset, that's kind of it, because you can't create a new save game and do another one. It basically erases all your progress, and you have to start from scratch, which is kind of really annoying, because I'd like to have my own playthrough, and then I'd love to basically give it up to the kids so they could go through their own playthrough.
You can't make a new save file?
Not that I've been able to find. If you go new game, it says this will overwrite your old game.
Right.
I'm like, but I don't want to do that. But that's really the only choice that you're given. So I don't know, maybe they'll patch in or something, but kind of really annoying. And in each playset, there's these little silver boxes that have a picture of one of the characters from
they
that
look like
world.
tombstones.
They do look like tombstones, which is really kind of odd. So you'll walk up to one and we'll have a picture of Mr. Incredible on it, and you're in the Incredibles playset. So you have to switch to Mr. Incredible to unlock it. And when you unlock it, you get a big burst of confetti and some coins and sparks, which are your I guess your experience that you use to level up.
experience points.
And then you get a thing that you can then use in the toy box mode. So the first one is always that figure as a little tiny bobble-headed character that can run around your worlds that you build. And then you'll go to a different part of the world and you'll see a box for another character, like say Syndrome, but you haven't bought Syndrome. So then you immediately have kind of this thing that you want that you can't get. And that's where the kind of the I guess the talons are kind of put into you a little bit. And it's like, oh, if you just got Syndrome, you could open that silver box and see the confetti and the big sparkles.
Right.
And then
there's the vault.
Yeah, and
there's a big vault on each playset,
which kind of really annoyed me because the first one I played was The Incredibles, and I had I had Violet and I had Mr. Incredible. Those are my two Incredibles characters, and I was like, oh, I need 3 other characters to open this vault because the vault has every figure for that playset that is released. So for Incredibles, it's 5. For every other one, it's 2 or 4. Or 3, I guess. So 2, 3, or 4.
Yeah, Lone Ranger's great because there's only 2 Lone Ranger figures, so you get the vault straight up.
Yeah, you buy the playset and you get everything to go with it. And I didn't know what was in the vault because I in my first playthrough I only had the 2 figures of the 5, so I didn't get it. And I bought the Sidekick pack after, so I had most of the figures for all the other ones, and it's like, oh crap, I still can't open any of these vaults. So I bought the villain pack so that I could open it. So I opened the, I guess it was the Pirates of the Caribbean one I opened first. And when you open the vault, you get a whole bunch of stuff. You get buildings, you get characters, you get things. And then kind of the icing on the cake is you get a themed toy set, or a toy box world that's been pre-created. So you get one for that world. So if you put the Incredibles, I haven't unlocked that one because I don't have Dash yet, but if I had Dash and I'd put it there, I'd get an Incredibles themed world that has been pre-built for me, so I don't have to worry about building my own world and then putting the buildings and all that stuff. It's all kind of done for you.
Right. So now the first question here is, do you feel that there's enough of the game that you get in just the playset to justify the price?
Totally.
To if you don't buy any other figures to unlock this stuff that we're talking about now, to unlock all these extra things, like do you feel cheated because now you've got to spend $700 or whatever to get all that vault stuff?
You know, for me, I was thinking about this after because I was very adamant that I'd buy the playset or I'd buy the starter kit and that was it. And then I read online that if you wanted to co-op, you need to have 2 figures from the same playset to play co-op. And I love co-oping with the kids. So it's like, crap. Okay, so I have to buy at least 3 other figures.
And you can't co-op different characters in different worlds.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Like if you're playing Incredibles,
you can't drop Lightning McQueen into the Incredibles world. In toy box mode, sure.
I could put.
I'm
Randall.
Lightning. My son is Mr. Incredible. Great, we're having fun. But in the Incredibles playset, it's Incredibles only.
Exactly, which is weird because
really
Randall, it can go invisible. There's Invisible Girl, Invisible Woman. Like it makes sense, but no, you can't do that. So immediately I was like, oh crap. So I have to buy at least 3 more characters. So I bought the Sidekick pack so that I could play co-op with my kids. And I was like, okay, that's it. And then my collecting kind of OCD little voice in my head said, why don't you just buy us some of the other figures? You'd like them. I'm like, okay. So I went and did that. So initially, as I said, I wanted to buy just the base set and any of the other toy sets that come out. I bought a couple other figures. If I would have paid the $100 to buy the base set and the Sidekicks package, and that is like all I had, I'd still feel pretty good about this in comparison to, say, Skylanders. Because you get those little tombstone-y things that you can't unlock in every level if you don't have those figures. But that's way different than in Skylanders, where if you don't have an element figure, you can't unlock this big part of the level.
Right.
And all the bonuses are in there, so you'll never get 3 stars unless you have at least 8 figures in
You're
Skylanders.
Stuck behind that gate. So I was thinking if they were to take any one of these play sets and separate it from the whole concept of the toys and the Disney Infinity, like how much, if that was like a downloadable game, like I would kind of peg each one of these at like the $15 to $20 level.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were to buy this Monsters U game, if it was its own separate thing, I mean, I could see that being a $15-$20 download just by itself.
I could see it being a $50 disc that you'd buy and play, because I've played a lot of these Disney games, and they're not much bigger or more complex than the stuff that you have.
This is easily the best game that any of these characters have ever been in.
Totally.
For sure. So, like, in terms of monetary value, if you're going to say 15 to 20 bucks for the 3 levels, I mean, I think it's still on the edge.
Yeah.
Okay, so add Toy Box in there, and you're getting actual physical toys in there. So maybe it approaches 75, but still, that's a lot to swallow in one go round. I mean, it's close. It's not a complete not a complete disarray. I mean, we're kind of, the Incredibles one is the one I've played the least out of the 5 of them. But what do you think of the other two, Monsters and Pirates?
They're pretty good. So Incredibles, the theme is superheroes. So each of your figures has a superpower. Mr. Incredible can punch hard. The Elasta woman can can do the Dulcim thing and punch people from far away. Then you have the Invisible Girl, Violet, who can go invisible and do things like that. So that's kind of the shtick for the first one. But each of the other play sets have their own kind of thing. So the next one I played was Pirates of the Caribbean. And you're a pirate, so you have a sword and a gun. So immediately you have a projectile weapon, which is like, hey, this is fun. I'm shooting guys from across the level. And you're basically swashbuckling across an island. And you get to a point where you do a mission. And it's like, okay, well, here, go get your ship. And so you're like, what? I go get my ship. So you go to the dock, and next thing you know, you're piloting your own pirate ship. And it's basically like the like the ocean ship battle part of Assassin's Creed 3 inside this little Disney Infinity game. It's like, holy crap, this is really good, like with the wave physics and everything. And you can have actual ship-to-ship battles. And I mean, obviously it's dumbed down and simplified, but it's not that different than what I played in Assassin's Creed 3 and kind of actually enjoyed. So that was pretty cool. So I guess the shtick for the second one is you're basically hunting for treasure. You need the Krakenbane, and so you have to go find the three pieces of the Krakenbane item to keep the Kraken at bay, so you can defeat the pirate or the ghost ship. And I found that one was like more exploratory. You're going exploring, kind of. Piloting your own way. There's islands in the middle of the world. Reminded me a little bit of like Wind Waker, where there's like just random islands that you go and dock to, and then kind of run around and see what is cool in that little area.
Right. Pick up collectibles and whatnot.
Yeah. Oh, that's another thing that we missed. In each level, there's these little toy capsules. Just like if you put a dollar in one of those gumball machine things that have toys inside of them, you turn it, you put the dollar in, you turn it, you get this little capsule thing with a dome and a solid bottom. There's those in each level. If they're red, they give you an unlockable toy that you can use in toy box mode. If they're green, they give you a bigger thing. So usually it's like a character set. There'll be like the Pirates of the Caribbean Villager Pack 1. So it gives you a stack of little kind of bobble-headed figures, but a bunch of them. And those are in each level. So in Pirates, it was really fun to find another island. It's like, okay, I see a red thing way up high. How do I get up there? And kind of doing the exploration thing to get up there. You also learn some cool powers that you can then take to toy box mode, where you have a gun to start off with, but you can unlock a bigger gun, which can kill most enemies with one shot. It's really slow, but it's really kind of, I don't know, enjoyable when you line up a perfect shot and you destroy this annoying creature in one shot. It's a lot of fun. And then there's also the bombs that you unlock, which then become really fun when you're in toy box mode, throwing them at your kids, or your kids throwing them at you, throwing these little exploding bombs. So Pirates is really fun. The whole ocean exploration and piloting your ship around was really kind of enjoyable. And then Monsters University is the third one. The whole shtick in this one is you'd have to scare people. So your character's special moves, so your Randall or Mike Wazowski, they basically where you normally would have kind of an attack button or a special ability button, you hit that in Monsters University, and then you let out a scare, like a roar,
right?
Or for Mike Wazowski, you stand on your head with a megaphone and try to make people get scared because you're not a very scary little guy. So that game is totally different. It's more like there's some stealth gameplay put in. You're setting up traps for people. It plays more like a kind of like a, I don't know, a Metal Gear. Like if one is Assassin's Creed boating, the other one's like Metal Gear kind of sneak and set up traps. And then The Incredibles is more like an old brawler, like a
right.
Like, I don't know, a Final Fight or something. So they've taken a lot of different kind of gameplay ideas and kind of put into these 3 base sets. And I don't know, all in all, it's a pretty darn good package for $75. You get the toys, you get 3 not huge, but 3 like meaty kind of games. Like 6 hours is pretty good for a kid's game. And then as icing on top, you get the toy box mode, and you can kind of be as creative or not. Like it's going to be better. It'll be a better value proposition, say in 6 months, because what you can do is you could build this really complex world. Say if you have a racing area and I don't know, a battle arena, you can make it as good as you possibly can, and then you can submit it to Disney, and Disney will be approving these and making them available for download online. So say in 6 months, if there's 50 levels there that are pre-made that you don't even have to do anything, that'll give you a little bit more meat for your $75.
Right.
Plus,
they put some of those up already.
Yeah, there's like 5 that were there on launch day, which are.
And I already downloaded the worst one because there's nothing to do in it.
Which one was that?
I got the one that's supposed to be a replication of Disneyland.
Oh, yeah.
And it's number one, it's not a very good replication of Disneyland because it's not like they have stuff in Disney Infinity to represent all of the different rides, only a couple of them. So it's kind of a lame representation, and there's nothing to do. There's no missions or anything. It's just walk around and look at it. So I didn't check out the other ones, but that one was lame.
Yeah, the other ones, there's one for which is a cross between Wreck-It Ralph and Tron. So you can pilot kind of the light vehicles. They don't have light cycles, but they have the cars with the laser wheels. And then there's a recognizer. And you go to the other half, and then it's like you're basically racing around on cookies and rainbows.
The Sugar Rush stuff.
Yeah, all the Sugar Rush stuff. And so you're riding around on rainbows with your Tron cars, or you can go jump into a any of the cars from Wreck-It Ralph and kind of pilot around, but it's like really tiny. I was hoping for more as kind of like, this is why you're going to want to play in toy box mode. But
well, have you noticed that like the thermometer on toy box mode, very similar to the thermometer in Little Big Planet, fills up pretty quick.
It does, especially if you're putting vehicles. Like I built a small little world, and we were basically throwing bombs around, and so I'd place a helicopter, and we would be tossing bombs at each other, and you'd put a bomb close enough to the helicopter, and it would knock it off the side of the world, and then it wouldn't respawn. So I basically went and placed like 50 helicopters, so we'd always have a helicopter. And then I realized that if you knock them off the platform, it doesn't get rid of them from your thermometer. So it basically uses up item slots. And it's like, holy crap. And then at the same time, I built this big world with like mountains and caves and stuff. And my thermometer was barely just above like the starting point. So I guess some objects...
I haven't figured out what triggers that yet. But
I think it's anything that's movable takes a lot of your slots. Anything else isn't so costly, I guess. But yeah, I mean... For $75, you're getting a pretty good chunk of content, especially if you like the figures. Like I just love the look of the figures. Like they're awesome. I like the Skylanders are kind of embarrassing to have in my house. These, if they were like by my television in the basement, I wouldn't be embarrassed about them because they're not like flaming head guys with flame swords that look floppy. They look like a Disney property. Like they look good.
Yeah, they're things people know, and they are rather cynically chosen based on what's currently marketable in the Disney empire.
I
mean, the only reason Monsters U exists is because Monsters U exists as a movie. If they had not made a sequel, we would not be getting Monsters in Disney Infinity.
Yeah.
So I think we're allowed a little cynicism there as to who they've chosen to feature, because it is kind of odd to me that they go ahead and launch this game and there's the cover art and there's no like of the classic Disney stuff represented. We've got 2 Pixar movies and a Jerry Bruckheimer film represented. There's no Mickey on the box, there's no Donald. But I suppose their market research says this is what we're going to focus on right now. And I'm sure a major driving force was what toy lines are successful for kids already. I mean, that's why there's a Cars set, because the Cars stuff has been a major force at retail for years.
Totally.
They're still there. And despite nobody really enjoying Cars 2, the Cars toys are still fine. And the Cars set's actually quite good.
Okay, we'll get into that in a second. But yeah, that's really kind of bizarre. So at launch, there was the 3 playsets that come with the game. There's the Cars playset and Lone Ranger for some strange reason. I guess they maybe want people to buy the DVD.
Figure how long has this been in development?
True enough.
Banking on Lone Ranger actually,
Did it actually hit theaters? I don't remember it hitting theaters actually.
I saw it. I liked it.
Oh, really? Okay, I haven't seen it.
Yeah. I don't understand why people said it was bad. It was just as ridiculous as any given of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. It's largely the same film, but
I'm actually pretty sure that it will enjoy it, but it's just one of those weird things where you just didn't hear about it. Like, it hit theaters. It's like I just watched Disney's Epic, and I missed it. Like, I didn't take my kids to go see it in theaters, and it's like, well, this is like a really awesome movie, and I'm surprised that that's not part of Disney Infinity.
What is?
Disney's Epic. The movie Epic. It's about little people in a forest, and this woman gets shrunk down and then she becomes one of the battling people. I don't know.
I don't think that was Disney. I think that's why it's not included.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you sure it's not Disney? Epic. All I find is Epic Mickey.
Yeah, well,
it's
why did they make an Epic Mickey playset?
It's by Blue Skies Theaters. Oh, isn't it a Disney property? I could have sworn that the movie. Oh, damn it! It's gonna
run the trailer.
Stop it! Stop it! Blue Sky. Oh no, sorry. I guess it's not Disney. It's by the Ice Age people. Okay, I gotta close that window. Okay, well, never mind. That I was gonna say.
That's why that's been included.
Oh, and Kyle.
Why is there no Pokemon set for this?
Okay, well, sorry. Maybe that wasn't the right thing, but it was kind of like other Disney movies have come out and hadn't been like super huge hits, but I guess with the Lone Ranger just hitting theaters around the same time as when the big marketing push for this was. Exactly.
They gambled and lost hard on that. But yeah.
So
see why they picked it.
Yeah, totally. So anyway, so for $75 you get the 3 play sets for the 3 games that we've talked about enough. And then there's the 2 other play sets which you picked up, Joe. So what are your thoughts on the Cars or the Lone Ranger play sets?
I mean, Cars is very good. It's interesting that they've got kind of the split between the characters that are humanoid, ambulatory, and the Cars characters, because obviously a Cars character, Lightning McQueen, cannot jump inside another car and drive it, like how Mr. Incredible can jump inside Cinderella's carriage and drive it, as a monster truck. So, Lightning McQueen already is the car. So the controls are the same as if you're driving the Cinderella carriage, but since these guys don't have
hands,
hands, like their special attacks and stuff are a little bit different, and they get the ability to tow other things around, which is pretty cool. And they get a horn, and they have a lot of sort of the old Mario Kart style attacks, like where you can jerk the stick to the right or left to bash into each other, that kind of stuff. And the Cars playset takes place in Radiator Springs and is just sort of a lot of, just like we talked about with the other 3, where it's just all these little fetch quests, go here to do that, go pick this up here, and you're constantly picking up missions from the other characters. Plus, for some reason you're building Radiator Springs as you go, so you kind of like unlock Fillmore's magic gas hut or whatever the heck it's called, and then you kind of put that in the town where you want to put it, because it seems like all the playsets have some kind of customization built into the level itself, even outside of toy box mode. But no, the driving controls are nice, and actually I think I've put the most time into that one so far. Lone Ranger is kind of halfway between Incredibles and Pirates. It's very much similar to those guys. I mean, obviously, it doesn't have the ship to ship stuff that Pirates does, but it does have, everybody's got guns. So just like in how Pirates has the guns and the swords, everybody in Lone Ranger has guns. There's a Texas town that then you have to like build the train tracks to go to other parts of Texas. So there's this whole thing where you're building a train car as you go. Again, more customization inside the play set. But that one's been fun too. Although that seems to be the one where I get weird glitchiness that I don't seem to see in the other ones. I've had missing audio once or twice.
Weird.
Yeah, every now and then, like, the game will tell you, oh, hey, you just unlocked this. Go check it out in the toy box. And then it shows you a quick little movie and then tells you a little bit about it. Well, in Lone Ranger, I have had it show me the movie and it's completely silent. There's no audio. Wow.
Does the audio catch up later?
No, it just never plays.
Really?
It just never played that sample.
Because I've seen that every once in a while. Sometimes you'll put a figure on if you're playing co-op. You put a second figure on and then you get kind of like the animation, and then the animation pauses a few seconds and then it starts up, and then my son or daughter will be walking away, and then like the kind of the sound bite hits for like like you put a figure on and they say something stupid usually, and it's like, well, they've obviously said it about 10 seconds ago because my kids are way off climbing a building, and next thing you know, Syndrome is saying some stupid catchphrase, and it's like, okay, that's a little delayed, but that's about the worst that I've seen.
Yeah. But no, those sell for what, 35 though?
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's not as good of a value proposition as the main set.
Yeah, it's weird because like the pricing is expensive. So each individual character is $12.99. For Skylanders, it started at $7.99, and then when they realized it was a hit, it was next thing you know, the next shipment comes up and they're $9.99. It's like, oh, I see what you're doing. You're evil. So for the longest time it was $9.99, and then Skylanders Giants came out, and there were certain figures that were more expensive, but every figure is $12.99. And they're bigger, I get that. And then you buy the 3 character sets for $30, or you buy the play set, which is 2 characters and a 6-hour game, and it's $35. It's like, oh, that's a lot. So if you buy all of the gamey parts, you're basically spending $145 right off the bat without even, like, I don't know, getting much for it other than the I guess 7 figures you'd get and the nice globy ice looking thingies.
Right. Yeah, you get the toys, you get stuff to unlock. But yeah, those 35s, that's a bit hard to choke. That's why when we had these sales in the States the first week, I mean, that was the time to strike on the play sets, because you could get them for $17, a piece, and that was okay. That now you're pretty much right in the magic zone right there.
Totally. Like, I really wish we had those sales up here. And I guess the good thing is, if you wait to pick this up until after Christmas, you know that you're going to be able to buy the playset, like the starter kit, for $50. You're going to be able to get these play sets for buy one get one half
there'll be
off.
some kind of amazing sale around Black Friday time in the States, I'm sure.
That too.
Plus, October, November is when Wave 2 hits.
Exactly. So in Wave 1, there's those 5 play sets. Cars has 4 figures, the 2 that come with it. Then you can get Bernoulli and Mater. Then there's Lone Ranger, which has no extra characters. There's the 3 extra characters you can get for Incredibles, 2 extra for Monsters University, 2 extra for Pirates. So if all that wasn't enough, plus all of these fun little discs that you can get for $5 for 2 of them, if that wasn't enough, then October comes out, and they're coming out with a bunch of other figures and a bunch of other play sets as well. So the first play set that they've announced that will be coming is the Toy Story in Space, which looks good.
Yeah, seeing as how we already had Toy Story 3 that kind of did the same thing, I'm like a little not interested in Toy Story again, but I guess I just kind of wish, like, out of the whole entire Disney library, it's like, oh crap, we're going to Toy Story again.
Yeah, but that's their big thing. I mean, that's their That's their like trump card. They're going to play,
Yeah.
right? Because everybody likes Toy Story.
Right.
And then they've announced a bunch of other figurines. So they have Sorcerer Mickey as a standalone figure. They have Jack Skellington as a standalone figure. And then they have the announcement that you're going to get Wreck-It Ralph and Vanellope from Wreck-It, or you get Wreck-It Ralph and Vanellope. And then there's a couple other Disney princesses. The Ice Princesses are going to be coming out, which is a new movie coming out.
You get a pair from Frozen, Anna and Elsa, Rapunzel from Tangled.
Rapunzel's the other one. So
and Phineas and Perry from Phineas and Ferb.
Yeah. So I guess that's my big question. So they're going to be coming out with the play sets, which you get a game and 2 figures, and you get to play the game. Then they're going to be coming out with these standalone figures. Like, personally, yourself, Joe, Mr. Joe Fourhman, will you be buying a standalone figure to play with, or would you be buying it mainly just to show off? Like, I have Jack Skellington because he's my favorite character forever.
Right, yeah. If he's your favorite guy, like, okay, sure. Like, I mean, I want to get Wreck-It Ralph and Vanellope because we really like that movie.
Right.
But the idea of not having any more worlds kind of stinks. I know I'm begging to spend another $35 a pop to Disney here, but like it would be nice if like they kind of pulled a surprise and all these other character pairs were more play sets that they just had not announced as play sets. But that doesn't look likely at this time. I've already seen some artwork of these characters in their boxes, and the box has a little sticker on it that says "for use in toy box mode."
Yeah,
I'm like, oh,
it's disappointing.
That kind of sucks
because basically all you get with a figure. So if you go out and buy Mike Wazowski by himself, and you pop it on your base, the only thing you get for that character, if you didn't already have the Monsters University set, which you obviously do because you bought the play set, but let's just pretend that Monsters University didn't come with it. You'd buy Mike Wazowski, you put him on the play set. The only thing you get is the ability to play with him in Toy Box and one individual mission. Each character has their own mission that that you can access that only that character has. That is the only thing you get for it. So it's similar to Skylanders. Each Skylander had their own kind of mission where you could go do things to get mastery, to give yourself upgrades to your different stats. These ones you're just doing for fun. You can get the spins of the random item, random cool item that I want to build with in toy box mode wheel.
They have like a roulette wheel kind of a thing that you can unlock stuff with.
Yeah, like I mean that's all that you get with these figures. So like October rolls around and Sorcerer Mickey comes out. Like what is the benefit for owning him? I don't think there really is one, which to me seems really strange. Like they're billing Disney Infinity as infinite possibilities. Okay, there's your play sets, there's your toy box mode. I get it, but they're going to be selling figures without a game to play them in, except like the game of your creativity. It seems, I don't know, it seems really kind of odd to me, and I don't know if I'm going to be picking up many of those figures.
Right. I like I said, it'd be great because like the math would kind of work out because once you add Toy Story into it, that means you've got 6 play sets. And out of the other figures they've already announced, there's 3 more pairs of characters.
Yep.
So then we'd have 9 play sets if my conspiracy theory is in place. You'd have a Frozen play set, you'd have a Phineas and Ferb play set, and you'd have a Wreck-It Ralph play set. But like I said, it doesn't seem like it. And there's already a bunch of Wreck-It Ralph stuff already in the game. So like what else more would they be able to unlock for toy box mode? I mean, it seems like we're just going to get figures that, like you say, are just for toy box mode. And it's like, oh, okay. I would not be surprised if at the very least, maybe once you put that dude on the base, you unlock some other kind of item that you wouldn't otherwise get, you know?
Sure. Or maybe it'll be like a mini mission. So instead of the missions that you get where you're basically just running and collecting items and going for bronze, silver, or gold, maybe there'll be a smaller kind of gamey sort of mission that they'll unlock.
Yeah, like my guess is you're just going to unlock another one of those little townspeople characters that are all over the game, just dressed like Sorcerer Mickey or dressed like Jack Skellington, and congratulations, that's what you've got. But
Yeah.
that's going to be that's going to be fun to find that out. And once we get to October, November, and find out. And then here's my next question: What next?
Yeah, see, that's the thing.
Are they going to do figures next year? I mean, Skylanders has been kind of dirty because they spread out their releases throughout like an 8-month period.
Yeah.
So you can actually find and buy them all. In Disney Infinity, there's an area called the Hall of Heroes, and it straight up shows you in the Hall of Heroes every single one of those power discs you were just holding up, and every single of the toys that you can buy.
Sure.
And they're just there, and that's just supposed to be like a little visual representation of the ones that you've unlocked and collected.
Yep.
And it's done. So do they plan on patching that and making that different if they decide to do more toys next year, or are we just already done with Disney Infinity and we're just waiting for Disney Infinity 2 now?
Well, did you pick up Crystal Lightning McQueen?
I did not, because I didn't want the crystal ones.
Yeah, so that is another thing that they're doing. So similar to Skylanders that had legendaries, there's going to be specific figures that are only available at certain retailers. So the only one available right now is Lightning McQueen, Crystal Lightning McQueen. So it's kind of...
It's kind of transparent. You kind of see
it's like a glass of milk. It looks like, but it has Lightning McQueen stickers on it, which is really odd. And if you,
it still has the paint apps on it.
Yeah, exactly. So if you place that on your base station and you load it into your game, it doesn't show up in the Hall of Heroes in the main Coliseum area. There's actually a place behind where you spawn, and it has a whole bunch of other little pedestals, and Lightning McQueen is one of those. And you can't go to any of the other ones and see what those pedestals are. So maybe that is going to be... Maybe there's going to be 8 crystal figures, or maybe that's where other figures are going to show up. More than likely, what's going to happen is every August we're going to have a new Disney Infinity disc, which will have all the content from the previous ones and all the new figures that they're planning on releasing for that calendar year. And it'll kind of be this buy a new disc every year for $70, or it'll probably be cheaper for the second one. You'll probably be able to just buy the box copy of the game, not the big one that comes with all the figures and the base station and all that fun stuff.
I could see him doing the whole new thing every year with a whole different set of play sets and a whole other set of different free figures. I mean, just like Skylanders.
They could be doing that too. Like I was trying to think of a way that they could do it. It's like, well, maybe what they could do is just have like downloadable content. So they would patch in a new play set, but then it's like, okay, well, what if people don't have internet? And a lot of people that would have, like, say, the Wii or whatever might not get their system online. So that wouldn't work for them. But maybe they'll have, like, a booster kit thing, a disc you put in. And it's like, oh, but then they'd have to mint, like, 6 discs and ship it with each set. So that's obviously not going to happen. So the only way they could do this is they figured out what figures are going and playsets are going to be in Series 1, Disney Infinity 1.0, and then they'll just come out with a new game next year with all new stuff. So this one is very heavy on kind of current popular stuff. So maybe next one's going to be like the Disney Infinity Classics, and it will have like the Lion King and Aladdin and Little Mermaid and all the stuff that I'd love, because those were movies that I grew up with, and I'd love to play those games. My kids love them too.
I think you can probably look at what Disney films are in production now.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to see in Disney Infinity 2.
Which is unfortunate.
Plus a Star Wars and a Marvel one.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Like they could come out with Disney Infinity Star Wars and Disney Infinity Marvel, and then have a whole other sets of like this game is going to cost you your house essentially if you buy everything in 3 years. Once
and then if you get Disney Infinity 2 and you had Disney Infinity 1, you're going to already expect that everything that you already bought is going to work again, and all the same stuff you had in the toy box is going to be in the new one. So you're going to have like the same problem Little Big Planet has, where every single thing has to be carried forward to the next release and the next release and the next release. And so finally you got this big unwieldy thing.
Can't innovate. You have to support. It'll be like the Windows 95 of video games.
Right. And I already find that the toy box mode is really slow when you're trying to build stuff.
It can get really slow.
It can get bogged down depending on how much junk you have in your level. So then to have an even bigger, another 6,000 items to choose from to scroll past, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know how they're going to tackle that. I mean, I don't think anybody knows how to tackle that.
Well, and
Little
Steven,
Big Planet didn't solve it.
Well, totally. Steven in the chat room says Disney Infinity Muppets because
there is another Muppet movie coming.
And
so
the funny thing,
if it's going to tie into to current releases, like I would imagine they're still going to do, Muppets is on the list.
And there's actually a little bobble-headed Kermit guy that you can get.
Yeah, and little Miss Piggy and a little animal too.
Yeah, so I mean, Muppets are kind of in there as well. So yeah, I mean, there's no end of content. The thing that I'm really kind of surprised about is that someone hasn't taken this disc, popped it in their PC, and looked through all the files and found every single thing that is in the game, because there's stuff that you can't see that is in the game because Disney's doing this thing where if you're part of the beta program and you get like a yearly pass to one of the Disney parks, you get a wristband that has RFID inside of it. If you put that wristband on your Disney Infinity playset, it actually unlocks a dragon that flies around your world.
How about that?
And some other stuff. It's like just hidden stuff that's put in. It's like, holy crap, this is awesome. Like it's definitely showing kind of like some of the Disney magic sort of thing. Well, if that's in there, what other stuff is in there that is just kind of hidden? Like maybe there'll be a toy set that is not related to Disney Infinity at all, but it actually has like an RFID tag somewhere in the foot. You put it on your playset, and then you get that figure as a little tiny bobblehead inside your game. Like who knows?
I want to know what I have in my house that has RFID in it that I could just put on the base and try to like get lucky and unlock stuff. Like
that would be great. That would be great. But yeah, I mean, like the discs have been out, and I'm really surprised that I haven't found like a listing online of all the stuff that's in it, because shortly after Skylanders came out, people are saying, well, there's these sidekicks. Like, what are sidekicks? And everybody's talking about that. And next thing you know, there's a Frito-Lay promotion to get those little sidekick figures, right?
And they didn't announce that until the summer.
Yeah.
So that was months went by before the sidekicks were officially revealed, and you could actually, do the silly thing to buy chips to get them sent to you. So yeah, here's hoping there's all kinds of stuff on there that we don't know about, because it would be kind of disappointing if that Hall of Heroes is it for Disney Infinity.
Yeah. And I think the good thing they're doing with the Hall of Heroes is every time you go in there after you've done something in the game, it morphs. It says you've unlocked Hall of Heroes version 8.
It gets a little better, a little bigger.
Yeah. So maybe a second hall will spring up beside it that has the other heroes, or maybe they can do something, or maybe there's a second floor that will pop in or something.
Right.
Because I mean, it's great. It gives you an idea of what's in the game. That's really good. I don't know. I really kind of like this game. So I don't know. I guess we've kind of talked a little bit about everything. Anything else that you can think of to add, Joe?
Yeah, I'm going through my notes. One thing I think is going to be my big advice for people buying stuff, and you've already gone against it, is never buy a single figure. Because there's been an image leaked of a 3-pack that's going to come out that has Rapunzel from Tangled and Vanellope from Wreck-It Ralph and Violet.
Oh, seriously?
From The Incredibles, who, of course, Violet's already out there. So if you've already bought Violet, now you're not going to buy this 3-pack and save a couple bucks.
Oh, that's too bad. The only reason why I picked Violet was that was one of the only characters that wasn't part of any other 3-pack. It was Dash or Violet, and my daughter loves Violet. Right. So I made the wrong pick, I guess.
Yeah, so they're going to do a 3-pack of that. And the Frozen, the 2 characters from Frozen are going to be in a 2-pack, according to this leak that I saw, that also includes 2 of the discs that are specific to Frozen.
So maybe that's what they'll do. Instead of having a full play set, they'll come with special discs.
Right.
Similar to what Skylanders
I can't wait to see
did.
The price.
Yeah, exactly. Like Skylanders had the battle packs that would come with an item and some power-up things. Maybe that's kind of what these figures will do. Maybe there'll be a Wreck-It Ralph one like that comes with some Wreck-It Ralph specific discs. And
right.
Still, I'd rather have a 6-hour game.
Right. Yes, I would too. Especially if it's characters that I really like, like a Lion King world or a DuckTales world or something.
Yeah.
iPad version of this.
Oh yeah, it's not out yet, but it's
not
coming.
out yet. But I'm hoping that the tools to build your own world will be even more easy to use on an iPad version.
Yeah,
because you can build a world on the iPad version and then essentially upload it to your game, because there's a unified account system that will, if you unlock something in the game, it will be unlocked in your iPad version. And the iPad version's free. And so I'm really looking forward to that dropping because like it's really hard to make a 3D construction tool. You know,
Sure,
like
yeah, totally.
it's really hard to do that. So I do find the Toy Box mode interface takes some mastery to figure it out. And I'm hoping the iPad version's a lot easier to use.
Exactly. Like there's going to be 2 iPad games. One of them's already out, which is basically a record a stupid video of you doing something stupid and then add Jack Sparrow in it.
Right, standing in the corner. Hooray!
And then laugh. That was the first one. But the bigger one is going to be the Toy Box mode, which basically allows you to unlock any figure that you already own. So if you haven't linked up your Disney account, each of the figures comes with a little 12-digit code that you can punch in on the website or into the game. So if you want your Mike Wazowski in the iPad, you would punch in that code or link your Disney account. But then basically what you can do is build your own worlds, access worlds that you've built and saved to your cloud account, your Disney Infinity cloud thingy, or you can just make them yourself right there. And you can also play them. So it's not just going to be a building tool. Apparently you're going to be able to go and play through them as well. So it's going to be like a little mini me copy of Disney Infinity that you're going to have with you in the palm of your hands on your iPad. I'm super stoked for that. And it's free.
It's free.
With in-app purchases, of course. So if you don't want to spend $75 in the game, you can spend $75 on virtual tchotchkes that you can then unlock that way, I guess, is what their thoughts are. But
is there a release date on that yet? When's that coming out?
I would have assumed it would have been there right from launch, but
yeah,
I haven't heard any sort of leak from any of the iOS websites that are saying it's out in, say, like New Zealand. That's usually what they talk about, is like, oh, these games hit New Zealand, they'll be here in 24 hours. I've seen none of that for this, but they usually come out on Thursday, so it wouldn't hit New Zealand till tomorrow. So maybe it's still possible to come out this week, but unlikely. But yeah, that's going to be huge too, because similar to the Skylanders apps that are on iOS, which they're fun. They're not really Skylanders-y at all. They're set in the same world, but they're not the same game. From what I understand, those apps have been pretty good at getting people to buy up and buy the console versions. So this might be a little bit of a Trojan horse for Disney, because everybody loves Disney, and they'll download it just to see what it is and say, hey, I have one of those Wii things. I can buy this thing for the Wii and the kids will be happy. All right. Maybe it'll have a little bit of that effect as well. But yeah, so I think we've covered everything. We know one playset that's coming. There'll probably be others. They're going to be supporting this into the new year. And secret RFID tags in various objects around your house. That's about all I had written down for stuff to talk about. If you have one of those Disney bands, you get a really cool dragon. I'm actually kind of jealous of anybody that has one of those bands.
Yeah, I need to schedule a park visit. I need to get down there, get that band.
Yeah, it would be fun. It's sad. There's people that are posting them up on eBay and with stupid huge buy it nows, which I'm sure they're fake. They probably made it in their basement with some slap band and made it look official. But yeah. So yeah, I guess that's Disney Infinity. Yeah,
that's nuts and bolts, man. That's covered.
It's more than what I expected and less than I expected at the same time. I'm enjoying the hell out of it. Like I said, I've pretty much played nothing else but that for a week, spending like an hour at least a day with my kids after supper when I get home from work and all that stuff. That's kind of what we do before bed. We play through co-op, or we'll play in toy box mode. It is going to be probably the game that I'm going to be playing for the next 6 months with the kids. They won't want to play anything else, which to me is kind of good because it saves me lots of money in buying other kids games, which are horrible. This at least is
it is good. It is good. Can you have one person on the gamepad and another person on the TV?
That's one thing that I wanted to mention. That is not possible, which is the stupidest thing. So you have this gamepad and you could play the whole game on your gamepad. So you could turn your TV off mode, and you play it on off TV mode. So you would think there's some other problems with the Wii, which we can maybe talk about now. But you would think that if you're playing co-op and you go off TV mode, you're playing on your gamepad, and then whoever's on the TV is playing on the TV, and you have two full screens that you can play on. That is not the case. If you play co-op mode, you can't play on the gamepad. All the video is just on your television in split screen mode. What a huge opportunity missed. A huge flub by Disney on that one. And the other thing is on the back of the box on the Wii U version, it says it supports classic controller, it supports the Pro controller, and it supports one other control method. Well, the only thing it supports for co-op is Wiimote and Nunchuck. So one person's on the gamepad, the other person's using a Wiimote and Nunchuck. I'd much rather use a classic controller that I spent $50 on, which I've used for one game.
And it's built for that.
Totally. Dual stick and triggers is what you use in the game, and that's what the Pro controller is. So a little bit disappointed at that. There's talk that the printing on the box was a mistake, but Disney has promised that they're going to come out with a patch. I don't know. We'll see. I'll believe it when I have it downloading on my Wii U and my kids are playing with a Pro controller instead of the stupid Wiimote Nunchuck that confuses them, because my button have different names in their buttons. And it's like, well, what are you hitting? Well, I'm hitting X, but yours is, I don't know.
Yours is on the B trigger.
Z, Q, I don't know. hit all the buttons.
And forget about Toy Box mode with the remote Nunchuck. Just forget it.
It's horrible.
Just forget it.
Even worse with the Wiimote Nunchuck, just to bitch a little bit more, when I fire missiles, when I'm in a helicopter, it's the same button that I use to fire all my special weapons. So like throwing bombs and stuff. So it's the X on the gamepad. Well, to fire missiles when you're flying on the Wiimote Nunchuck, you shake your Wiimote. So it's not even shake the Nunchuck, which I did because other games have done that. No, it's shake the Wiimote. It's like, what are you doing? There's extra buttons. I don't know. It's so stupid.
I didn't sign up for shaking of anything this generation.
No, I mean, I left that in the dust.
Yeah, that's gone.
Anyway. All right, man. I think that's Disney Infinity. I think we played it out. We talked all about it.
Right on.
I dig it. I'm going to be talking more about this one for sure on Nintendo Pulse and the bonus stage as various stuff comes out. I'll see if you guys can keep me honest. I'm going to try to be strong and not buy any of the other play sets for myself. My kids will be happy without them, but I want to buy the other play sets so I can play through them. But I think my daughter's birthday is in a few weeks, so maybe I'll get her a set for her birthday and then maybe save one for Christmas and then maybe get the Toy Story one at the same time. I'll probably own them by the next time I record a show. If all signs point to what my past behavior has been, that'll kind of be what happens, but I'll try to be strong, and you guys can keep me honest here on the podcast network. All right, guys, that's going to about do it for this special edition of the Disney Infinity special podcast, VG podcast, special podcast. I think that was the name, right? Something like that. Is that what
it evolved a little bit over the last hour and a half? But
I think there's more.
Right
I think there's more specials in there.
It got a lot specialer
with some asterisks. Maybe it has some sparkles like your sparks.
Right.
It has some experience along with
Pixie dust.
Yeah. All right. Obviously, I'm having problems talking and I'm tired.
Lloyd Hand.
Oh yeah, wrong button.
Right.
I'm I'm having problems hitting buttons as well. So,
right.
Joe, thanks for joining me here.
Thanks for having me. I enjoyed talking about this game. Not a problem at all.
Yeah. Well, again, why don't you tell people where they can hear more from the Joe Fourhman?
Yep. Again, I'm on the podcast You Like the Worst Stuff, which is available at ggsgamer.com and wherever you find your fine podcast choices like iTunes and Stitcher Radio.
Awesome. And guys, thanks for tuning in to all the shows we do here on VG Podcasts. If you don't know, you can click contact us at the top of the page at vgpodcast.com to send us an email. Email us at vgpodcasts@gmail.com, or you can subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, all those other fun things. If you're looking for any games, check out pnpgames.com. They support the podcast network, and we love what they do for retro and current gen games. So do check them out at pnpgames.com. You can follow me on Twitter at DazMe. Joe is at Fourhman, Fourhman. So don't follow just Fourhman without the H, because it's
that guy's terrible.
I think he's talking about like woodworking and carving
boring.
ducks and all that other stuff.
Like Bob Vila.
Oh yeah, no. You want the H. You want the 4H man, which is probably a different Twitter account altogether.
Yes, yeah. Again, it's like woodworking.
Fun. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll be here for the regular shows this week. So stay tuned to vgpodcast.com for all your podcasting needs. Take it easy, guys. We'll talk to you soon.